Today we're going to be studying section 9-2, graphing complex numbers. We talked in our last lesson about the general form of a complex number written like this, a plus bi. Today we're going to learn to write this in a trig form, also known as a polar form, and we're going to learn how to graph them. We're used to seeing our coordinate plane like this, with real numbers all across the plane. Now what we're going to do is use real numbers only on our x-axis, and on our y-axis we're going to be using our imaginary numbers. So if I wanted to graph the complex number, say 2 plus 2i, and here's my real number, here's 2, and here is 2i, my imaginary number, and at the intersection, there's my point, 2 plus 2i. And we can do this with negative and positive, just like you graphed your x and your y coordinates on your coordinate plane. Only now what we have is called a complex plane. We also write these, we can represent this complex plane using trig values. So if I had this same coordinate, 2 plus 2i, I can turn it into a trig function by using the magnitude is going to be the distance from the origin. So this line right here is the distance from the origin. That's our magnitude. And our angle from standard position is going to be called our argument. And the trig form of a complex number is written like this. I'm getting the touch pad in here. R cosine theta plus R I sine theta, or we can write that, factor out the r, and we get cosine theta plus I sine theta. And we also know that r, just like in trig, this value is equal to this side squared plus this side squared. So r squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. And way back in the beginning, tangent of theta is equal to b over a. So this is my a value, this is my b value. So we're going to use summation to solve some problems. So if I give you this complex number, I know that this is my a value, this is my b value. If I use my Pythagorean theorem to find r, I can say that r squared is equal to 2 square root of 3 squared plus 2 squared. So r squared is equal to 2 squared is 4, square root of 3 times square root of 3 is 3, so that's 12. 2 squared is 4. So r squared equals 16, and r equals plus or minus 4. Yep. And I also, using our tangent formula, tangent theta equals b over a. So tangent theta equals 2 over 2 square root of 3. Those cancel. And I'm going to divide by tangent, so it's theta equals inverse tangent of 1 over square root of 3. This is a positive number, 1 over square root of 3. Since it's positive and it's tangent, I know that we're talking about first quadrant and third quadrant. So 1 over square root of 3, first quadrant, theta would equal 30 degrees. And in third quadrant, 1 over square root of 3, theta would equal 210 degrees. So let's just keep that in mind for a second and start over with a fresh screen. So I said that theta was equal to 30 and 210 degrees. Following the pattern of my trig form, which said r times cosine theta plus I sine theta. If you remember, we said r was equal to plus or minus 4 in the first part of the problem. So I'm going to do positive 4 just for now. And my cosine of 30 plus I sine 30. That's the trig form for my first quadrant. My third quadrant looks like this. Negative 4 times cosine of 210. Oops, don't need that. Plus I sine 210. If you look at cosine of 210 degrees, even though tangent was positive in third quadrant, cosine and sine are both negative in third quadrant. So what happens is I'm multiplying negative times negative, negative times negative. So it turns out that this is not necessary because I'm going to end up with same values. So we only record the positive values in the trig functions. So let's try another one. This time we're going to write this trig form in a standard form. We're going to go backwards. It's cosine, 2 times the cosine of 150 degrees plus I sine of 150 degrees. This is the trig form. And I want to write it in standard form. Standard form looks like that. So how am I going to do that? Well, I have 2 times cosine of 150. Well, cosine of 150 is square root of 3 over 2, negative square root of 3 over 2. And I already distributed. I should erase that. So I have 2 times cosine of 150 is negative square root of 3 over 2 plus I sine of 150 is 1/2. Now I can distribute my 2. I have 2 times negative 3 over 2 plus 2 times I times 1/2. This becomes negative 2 square root of 3 over 2, and this becomes 2I over 2. This and this cancel, so negative square root of 3, and this and this cancel, so I have plus 1I. And that is my standard form.